Welcome everybody, welcome. I am Ed Cruz and this is the last lesson. And today, I believe this is episode 10. Episode 10 is going to be on the misconception or idea of, I have no title for it now. What am I going to call this? Understanding tension, right? Tension. So tension and synchronicity. How about that? Frick. I'm not going to write that down. So I'm just going to say tension overall. Episode 10, tension, all right? And then the detail, we'll go further into it. So I've always mentioned the fact that when you're doing, and this applies to everything that you're doing, but let's look at something. We'll take the base core concept from the punch. So we have three structures, right? We have the legs, the body, and the arms. Three structures that focus on a singular target that have to synchronize with each other together. And often the misconception by most people is when they practice a punch is they're trying to unify, right? Unify all three structures by the usage of muscle. So in other words, a squeeze, a tension, what say you, that when you punch you're like, you're umphing it, and then, in order to solidify that structure or stabilize that structure, the usage of muscle comes into play. This is a natural process because one, you haven't taken the time practicing to develop the trust in your structure. You'll be like, how can having my hand like this deal with so much force? And if you really think about it, it's like, that makes absolutely no sense. Why is that structure so strong? You're barely using any muscle, and you're standing like some dude waiting, for Black Friday for the lines to open. Why does that work? So in the beginning, it doesn't make sense. The mind can't comprehend it. And it would just be like us all of a sudden realizing, oh, aliens are around us or something like that. To that nature, okay? So when you try to punch, you have to use the muscle to try to get everything to sync together, okay? Now, why does this come about? Why do you have this difficulty, besides what I just mentioned before, is one, you can't feel motion, right? In other words, you may be able to feel motion in the arms, but you can't feel the motion in the body and you can't feel the motion in the legs. Each one has to be doing what the other is doing at the same time. So in other words, if the hands are moving, the body is moving, and the legs are moving as well. But in the beginning, after you learn Ichikima and you think you actually understand it, I got this. After you think you fully understand that, you really don't feel it, right? What you basically do as a beginner is you try to hold on by squeezing the legs and squeezing the body, and then the arms is all you can literally concentrate. And it's easier to squeeze, because as opposed to you trying to listen, is the body moving, is the legs moving, and so forth, that's a much more difficult process. So in the beginning, you'll be holding, and then just moving this, and you're unaware with it. So at the end, since these are holding, and then this is moving, and you're trying to tense it, you only feel basically upper area when you try to do that. And you're just trying to squeeze it to get that unification and synchronization to occur. All okay, right? Because that's a part of the learning process. So what you have to look for is eventually the development and awareness of actually feeling motion, right? So it's easy to say, I can feel the motion of the hands, right? You can see it, so the brain can comprehend that you're actually moving the hands. But to feel first the legs, trying to control the center of gravity being in and out, because technically, while we want to say we can multitask, it's really hard to freaking multitask. Imagine trying to listen, you're a musician trying to listen for a different sound, right? You're trying to listen for it. So now you're trying to feel for the feel of your body moving back and forth, trying to control that center of gravity. And then in turn, you try to feel for the stretch, awareness and maintenance of that stretch. Now you got a second thing and a third thing to listen for. And eventually, through practice, right, you can silence kind of like the noise around you, and then you're like, okay, oh wait, I do feel my body moving slightly to adjust with my center of gravity. It's not actually holding still. I always thought it was holding still. Is what you'll come to a realization. Oh, I always thought I was holding it still. Or it's not even moving, so I'm doing something wrong with that, okay? So then you have that. Then you feel like, God damn, I can't believe every time I'm punching, I can't maintain the tension. You know, keep it straight, keep it straight, keep it straight. You tell yourself over and over again, but you can't keep it straight. So once you can get that over that main hurdle, as far as I can feel this, or I can hear this, legs, body, and arm, now you're like, oh, I can feel all three structures moving. So that's a huge hurdle, because if you're unaware, you're unaware. You know, it's kind of like, don't you see that? Don't you hear that? Don't you know that? Don't you feel that? You can't force it, right? You're just not there if you haven't trained enough or practiced enough to be able to be aware of that process. So you keep practicing that over and over again until you feel, all three motions, I can feel now. So if you can get over that hurdle of making everything, when one moves, everything moves, right? So if I can be like, I'm punching, oh my God, my center of gravity actually adjusts, and I can actually feel the maintenance of my spine stretching, right? Still maintaining that, even in motion. Now you got awareness of that. So by having that awareness, now you're focusing more on that movement of all three structures as opposed to the squeezing of the muscles as from before. So if you can get to that point where you feel, I'm moving. So when it moves and all of a sudden the motion stops, what you'll realize is when you can feel motion, you can feel it moving, you can also feel it when it stops. And when the motion stops, see how everything stops at the same time? I'm not telling myself, legs, stop. Body, stop stretching or stop maintaining it. Arms, stop. I'm not telling myself that. By just having that sensation, yeah, it's moving. Oh, I stop. It's moving. I stop. I'm moving. Automatically stop. When you do that process, when you get to that ability to feel and have that awareness, then the stopping process is automatic. You don't have to say, oh, go, stop, stop, and so forth. So that level of having one, right, tension, right, and two, the awareness of motion when you're doing all three structures based off the target, then when you can get to that, then you'll have the ability to automatically stop. And when you can automatically stop, then you'll feel like instead of squeezing and using muscles to secure the technique, it's just like, I don't know what it is. You'll be like, what is that? Why does it feel so solid now? And I'm using less muscle, because now having that unity between all three structures creates an automatic solidification of the structures. One moving together, stop. Moving together, stop. Without the use and overemphasis of muscle. Okay? So hopefully, what am I gonna call this? Did I say episode 10 tension? You understand that concept and you understand the level and process of awareness that you need to get to so you can get rid of the unnecessary use of muscle. Okay? Nothing wrong with it. You have to go through ugly to get to beautiful, right? So just always remember that. All right.